everybody, thanks a lot for joining me. In this video, I'm going to use some products from this big stack of makeup that's sitting in front of me. There's so many new products launching for summer, so I wanted to just kind of take this opportunity to try a bunch of them on for you. A lot of this stuff I've actually been using a little bit here and there, so I may have some experiences to share along the way that I've had with these things, and I feel like these kinds of videos are coming out like left and right on YouTube, so I wasn't really sure if I wanted to do it, but then I thought, yeah, I do personally want to do this. So I know I've got a lot of drugstore here, but there may be a few high-end things mixed in. Case in point, I'm going to use this Smashbox Photo Finish Foundation Primer, the Radiance version with hyaluronic acid. So that's the newest one that they've come out with. It says illuminates, perfects, and enhances radiance while hydrating for better makeup application. And this does have a pretty, I don't know, pronounced glowy look to it. Yesterday when I put it on, I thought, wow, this is kind of reminding me of maybe like a MAC strobe cream type of texture, maybe a little bit less moisturizing than that. But I already do have some moisturizer on. Today I'm wearing my Kiehl's SPF 30. Now the foundation I'm using, I'm really up in the air about this one because I wasn't really a huge fan of it the first time I put it on. I don't know, the application was just kind of funky, but we'll just experience this together right now. It's the Revlon Youth FX Fix and Blur Foundation. Here I go, rabbit mode, I'm gonna sneeze. Bless me. This has SPF 20. I have it in the shade Nude. It is a squeezy tube foundation. Okay, something about that voice that I just made, it reminded me of the that caterpillar character in Alice in Wonderland. Like, there's a movie I had not watched for God knows how long. Like, I must have been a child when the last time I watched Alice in Wonderland. Just the cartoon, you know, the Disney cartoon. And the other day, like, I was noticing that that was available on Apple TV, and so I got it for Belle to watch. And that movie is so freaking weird. Like, that caterpillar is creepy as heck. Tweedledee and Tweedledum. Like, what? I mean, it's fun and all because it's so imaginative and everything, but it's just like some of the things, like, who thought this up and what were they doing while they thought it up, you know? Okay, so I patched this around all over. The first time I applied it, I really wanted to feel the texture of it, you know, so I blended it in with my fingers, and this definitely has like some thickness to it. And so today I thought maybe it would benefit from being bounced in with a beauty blender. This is my NYX sponge, which I love so much. The coverage on this is really not terrible, but it has a thick feel. Like when you touch your face, even after this is all blended in, it's like, wow, I really feel some makeup on there. But if it's gonna actually fill, as it says, fill some areas, I guess it needs some thickness, right? Got some fine lines here in my forehead, so maybe I'll be able to assess whether or not those are getting filled. And this is the way I felt the first time I put it on. Like, as hydrating as it seems like it is, as much richness as the foundation seems like it has when you first start putting it on, excuse me. Like, my dry areas around my eyebrows, it's definitely kind of clinging to those. And it's for sure like a medium coverage product too, because I'm seeing a lot through it. A lot of redness still through it. A lot of just like little discoloration through it. But I don't really want to pile on and build up more product because of how thick it feels. But the odd thing about this was the other day when I was wearing it and I looked at myself later in the day, my makeup actually seemed like it was in pretty good shape. You know, like it didn't seem like it totally melted off my skin, which was what I might have expected for as thick as it feels. Let's move on. Let's try this Revlon Youth FX Fill and Blur Concealer. And this I got in the shade Fair because I wanted it to be super brightening. And it clicks here and comes up through this little spongy bit right at the top, which I clicked it way too many times at first, and because I'm just used to having to click, 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 and then it was like streaming down the sides the first time I used it. And I'm just gonna dab this around here. It's kind of feeling like the Maybelline Instant Age Rewind, but a little bit smaller, you know, just this application style. And since it is so much lighter, I'm gonna use a little bit up here, a couple more clicks. I just don't like it when things don't immediately respond to the clicks and you're like, how many times do I have to keep clicking? And then this sponge, this NYX sponge is so cool. I like to kind of put my finger on the flat side when I'm doing concealer and use that other side to blend in the product. And then I may use something else to get at that innermost corner. But the last time I used this little foundation concealer combo, I kind of preferred the concealer over the foundation. I mean, don't you feel like that kind of covered and brightened pretty well? Bring in this little Sigma brush here. I feel like so much is happening in my life right now. My parents, who, you know, they live about normally 5.5 or so hours away from me, they've bought a house near us down here. So I think that's really amazing. It's gonna be so great to just have them closer and they can see the girls more. I don't know, just kind of help me out a little bit more too. I'd certainly welcome some grandparents near us. And they still are keeping their house back home, you know, back in our hometown, which is cool because, you know, they'll go back there periodically and be some family gatherings up there. I'm sure it's kind of like a home base, I suppose. But it will be awesome to have them down here, and they just yesterday closed on it. So they got some things in, they're getting some furniture in. And then, I'm not sure when this video is going to get posted, but the following week then we're going on vacation to Florida. So I'm kind of preparing for that as well. And in the midst of all this, I know Bub's got a trip that he's got to make to Chicago for work. So I feel like I just got people constantly going in all directions around here. So, okay, there's that concealer. Head on, you know, pretty good effect, pretty brightening. I can't take that away from it, but I'm still seeing a little something darkness-wise here. So I'm wondering if I can get away with building it up just a little bit more. The first time I used this, I had actually used a corrector first, like a peachy colored corrector, and that helped. But today I was just wanting to see how well it could do on its own. Some days the circles are just a little worse than others. But it wasn't like I didn't sleep last night. I actually got a great night's sleep. Eve, you know, slept through the night, and I didn't get to bed all that late. I just was really in the sleep, you know, so when I got up, I was like, oh, I feel like I've been sleeping for days. Okay, here's another drugstore new thing that I'm gonna use. It's the Maybelline Fit Me Loose Finishing Powder, and I got this in the shade Fair, just because I really wanted it to kind of be brightening and maybe be something that could be similar to the Laura Mercier, you know, and this is what it looks like. So it, you know, it just has a hint of color basically. And I've baked with this and it was good but not great. On top of like 3 different concealers, I was feeling like the initial look was pretty good, but it definitely developed more dryness than I'm used to as the day goes on. So I'm gonna just try to do a little light amount of this powder. I'm using my Smashbox number 10 brush here, shaking it off, and I'm just gonna lightly go over this. And we'll see how we like the finished look, and I'll definitely keep an eye on the way this looks as the day goes on. It seems to be kind of a nice feeling powder, you know, it's very lightweight. It adds a little bit of coverage, which I like, and it's definitely matte. And then all over my face, I got this Infallible Pro Glow Longwear Demi Glow Finish Air Light Texture with Highlighter. I've used this a few times. I'm not sure if I'm really seeing the effect from it. It has a little guide here on the back, and it says the finish is glowy. Wait, I thought it said Demi Matte. Oh, Demi Glow. Glowy finish, medium coverage, air light texture. So you can see this sort of beigey colored powder, and then up top, it does have a little powder with some flecks of sparkle in it. It's not like a pearly powder. It's not like you swatch it out and you see like a ton of glow. You just look really closely at it and it looks like a matte powder with little flecks of shimmer. That's probably why I'm not really seeing a ton of glow from this on my skin. And then it does have a sponge and a little mirror underneath there. I think the packaging is cute. I'm gonna use a little bit of the bottom part here and just kind of go over the parts of my face where I didn't do the under eye setting powder. Then I think I'll kind of, I guess, use a little bit of this top part. That seems to pick up a little more heavily on my brush. It's like the other powder is a little more firm. But honestly, I'm not seeing like a super glowy effect from this. Are you guys? If that was more like a true highlight with a little more pearlescent quality to it, then I think you'd really see something. But this just looks like, it just looks like matte powder. Actually, if I do look close, I can see some of those little sparkles. I don't know. And I also have a couple shades of the Pro Glow concealer, but I couldn't like use every concealer under the sun today, so I'll save that for another video. So you remember when Maybelline came out with that Master Blush palette, and I thought like, wow, they're really stepping up their game blush-wise. Well, now they have a Master Bronze palette, and this one has 4 shades. One is kind of like a cool, I think, contour type color on my skin. This one's a little bit warmer bronzer, and it does have some little flecks of shimmer, and then 2 glowy shades, one that can definitely be a highlight and one that's more of a beigey, a little bit of a peachy beige subtle glow. So I'm going to use this to contour with, since this shade is clearly able to do that. I mean, I've been using this for about a week and a half now, and it definitely does the job in that way. It's kind of subtle. You know, I feel like the powder is pigmented, but I don't have to be ultra careful about like just barely dipping in. You know, I can just pick some up casually and get it here on the hollow of the cheek. I am so excited for Destin. I cannot wait to be sitting on the beach, getting buried in the sand, just various beach shenanigans. What's your favorite thing to do on the beach? We've got like some buckets for Belle and Eve. Like little 5-month Eve's gonna be building a sandcastle, but Belle's gonna get a kick out of that for sure, and like looking for shells. And if you live in or visit the Destin area very often, like do you have any favorite little restaurants or local places to check out? Let me know. Okay, so again, I'm just taking that same contour shade and just working it around the perimeter of my face. Under the cheekbones. And then I like to take this fuller brush, this e.l.f. complexion brush, and go into the shade that seems like the official bronzer of the group. And I take that a little bit more on top of my cheeks. I think this product is a strong like for me, but maybe not a love, simply because I feel like I've got a lot of different bronzers. I've got a lot of different contour shades and highlights. I don't know, while it's a nice little product to have some of these different tones all in one, it's not one of those things that's screaming like necessity at me. But I'm just trying to warm up the face a little bit, so I'm putting that bronzery shade everywhere. And I kind of like mix across the two. And I use that just kind of down my neck and chest. But I will tell you, a bronzer that I've really been impressed with lately, I just recently got it because it came in a package from Too Faced and I had never tried it. It's not like brand new on the market, but it's their Baked Luminous Glow Bronzer in Sweet Tea. Kind of interesting tones in this. This seems a little bit golden, but it seems so perfect on the skin, and it's like really pigmented and just enough glow. And I've heard some people say great things about this, but now after I've tried it, I'm like, yeah, there's something to that. It's a really nice bronzer. Like, it makes my skin look downright tropical and exotic, but without too much shine. But it's certainly not matte either. It's just a nice level of glow. Next, I'm going to go ahead and highlight my skin, I think, from this palette, and then pop some blush on top. So I've got this glowiest highlight shade here. I recall really liking the highlight that was in the blush palette. And this one's pretty good too. Like, can give you some shine there. So until that blush palette that I mentioned, I've always kind of criticized Maybelline on their blushes. I've always thought they were really hard to pick up any color from. Well, now, guess what? They've reformulated the whole line of those Fit Me blushes, and they're coming out looking like this, and there's no brush included. They've realized like they're not going to deliver on a good brush, so they're just going to leave it out. But I got 2 shades. I was just looking at these on Ulta's website and picked the ones that I thought I'd like the best, and I really do like these. This one is nude right over here, and it's got kind of a satin finish. They both do. You know, I wouldn't really call it tons of shimmer because it just doesn't translate that way on my skin, but it's just a, you know, a soft little tiny bit of glow. And this one's called Wine. Love this. This is a great, just rosy glow. This is the blush Snow White would have bought, definitely. Am I the mother of a 2-year-old girl? Yes, I am. Okay, this is nude. I'm going to pop this on first. I mean, these are leaps and bounds better than what they used to have. And see how this is giving me just this nice little, I don't know, very, very natural, just hint of blush color here. It looks like such a natural glow. Man, doesn't blush just make you happy? Like, you see blush on your skin versus no blush, and it's like, yes, that was necessary. And then I'm going to use a little bit of this wine color, like I said, Snow White's favorite shade, and take this just right here. Really working that outer part of the apple and kind of pulling it back just a bit. Oh, that shade is gorgeous. Oh my gosh. Like, nude is pretty, but that's doing what I think a lot of colors can do. The rosiness of this other shade is just juicy. Now here's what I want to do. Since I got a little excited, I'm going to take just a bare brush, or a brush that might have a little remaining powder on it, and just kind of go over that a little bit. It's easy to get a little intense when you love a blush. But again, I was going on top of highlight with this blush, so I can still see a little bit of glow, but it's not too crazy wild. So excited to find those blushes for sure. Then I want to take some of my Mario Badescu facial spray with aloe, cucumber, and green tea. Just missed that, about 4 mists all over my skin. I think some of that's fallen down in my coffee over there. That's okay. I did a couple more, like, basically pointed directly over my eye area. Despite the light amount of powder I put over that area, up close, things are looking a little thick on the under eye. Can I tell you about a new brow product that I'm not going to use in this video? It's the Brow Stylist Kabuki blender. It's like a really soft kind of like waxy pomade stick, and on the other end is kind of like a thick little brush, and you're supposed to, you know, take that over your brows, and my brows just like eat this stuff up. I get so much product in there, they end up looking so thick. Might be a good thing for some people, but just not for me. So I'm going to use one older favorite for brows in this video and one other new thing, but this is the Precisely My Brow Pencil number 4. I've been using this a lot from Benefit just because I think it's a very on point shade for me, and it's just, I don't know, really easy to use. But I feel pretty much the same about it as I do most of the fine tip pencils. Like if this were a Brow Wiz or this were a NYX Micro Brow, I feel like I could kind of, you know, switch them out. There's nothing like over the top different about this. It just happens to be the right shade right now, and this is the one that I have, you know, so that's the one I'm using. Oh, and L'Oreal has those Brow Stylist definers, which are great too, and they're a skinny pencil. So I just add a little bit of that in there, and then I use the brush side to go through. Am I dealing with allergies? Oh, I feel like I gotta sneeze all the time this morning. We've got all systems go finally with our pool. We had a new part put in, and that water is the clearest, cleanest, most wonderful, like, there's something that just makes me so happy when I look out there and I think, yes, everything's working. Oh man, but did you hear about my water heater adventure yesterday? Good Lord. We go down in the basement. Well, actually, Mom was down there because she had a few things that she was getting out of our like furnace room area. The area of our house is like the control center, you know, it's got the big AC unit, it's got 2 water heaters. She had her shoes off and she stepped, and she comes upstairs, she's like, you should know that there's some water in the basement. It's like totally the last thing you want to hear at 10 o'clock at night. So Bub's immediately like shop vacuuming water up and putting down a fan. Next day called 3 different places, and there was a guy who could come out and see it that afternoon. And he was great. Shout out to A&W. Isn't that great? My favorite brand of diet root beer is also a plumber. And he said we were definitely in for a new water heater. The other one was still working fine for now. He got us all fixed up, and now we're just in the process of drying out kind of a section of carpet that's, I don't know, it's a pretty decent section that got wet, but fortunately there wasn't anything sitting on it. We just moved a few things out. Now we've got 3 fans blowing on it and just shop vacuuming water up periodically. So if you ever dried out carpet, you know, it's a little bit of a process, but it can be done. The new thing I mentioned using in my brows is this Makeup Forever brow gel. This is the kind of thing I think somebody with really sparse brows might love. Because, and by the way, I have this in shade 35. Ooh, I just got some goop on my finger. But I feel like this thing has a ton of little fibers in here that would attach to your brows and make them look thicker. But it's kind of a long brush, and it's more tapered here toward the end. So I kind of use that little tapered end and just take that part through my brows. It has kind of nice hold and some tint. I just try not to get too much product in because just like right there, I happen to lay down too much, so I have to brush that on through. So that was definitely my point with this, is that the size of the brush, it can hold a lot of product. Whatever, this is real life. We'll see how the eye look turns out and see how much I need to redo that. But I'm gonna pop on Old Faithful here, Milani eyeshadow primer. This, it just takes a little bit of this product. Sometimes I think people way overuse eyeshadow primers, like put on way too much and then wonder why it's creasing. So just do what you need to cover the surface, go into your crease, up to the brow, to the point where your skin only feels lightly tacky. And then you're at the sweet spot of eye primers. Even if you're not using Milani, like whatever you're putting on there. Don't overuse it, it doesn't take a lot. I feel like this brow is like screaming at me right now. Got a little micellar water on a pad here. Oh, that's definitely picking up some product. I'm trying, people, I'm trying. Clean off my brush here. Bare brush, just kind of brush through it. Didn't mean to bring you guys like a major brow fiasco in this video. I really kind of wanted brows to like just naturally happen and be kind of a backseat, but brows decided to jump up and say, hey, I want to be the star of this show. I want to take over this video. Okay, maybe the less I touch them, the better today. Maybe that's what they're trying to tell me. Revealed Matte Palette. Coastal Scents has put out another palette. How many shades are in these anyway? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There are 20 shades in here. And you got your rich colors, your light and transition-y kind of colors. There are berries, there are warm shades, there are taupes, there are browns, but not too heavy on the browns, you'll notice. Like, I'm not picking up on a ton except for like these couple here and maybe just like a little bit of a light brown. What I'm gonna do first is just get like some base color going on my lids. I think I'll use this shade right here. And just kind of brush this all over. I've used this palette several times and I've been really impressed. They've got some great pigmentation here and really nice light shades as well. Like, I took a dark shade the other day over most of my lid and decided I would just kind of pop one of these brightest colors, like maybe it was this pinky tone shade right here. Just pop that on the inner part of the lid and I was like, that almost looks like a shimmer because it's so strong and it's like glowing on top of my lid, but it's not a shimmer, you know, it's a matte shadow. It's just a really pronounced matte that was creating so much contrast. Yeah. And just pick this brush up off the floor with my toes. Okay, what direction do I want to go? I haven't used this plum yet, so I think that plum is calling my name today. But I want to work in some warmth too. I think I'm gonna go with this this brown a little bit in my crease. I was truly deep down loving the all matte looks for quite some time here, and then I just had different shimmery things that I wanted to try, you know. So shimmer sort of worked its way back into my eye life, but getting this palette out, I'm like, yes, I really do love a good all matte eye look. Now, Urban Decay had that naked, what'd they call it, Ultimate Basics. I didn't talk about that one a whole heck of a lot. Like, I liked it, but I don't know. It wasn't like an instant love affair happening. This one, you know, for the value of it, what did I spend on this? $9.99? I got it like right when it came out. So I think they did have some kind of deal going. I mean, you're just getting so much here. So I think the value is certainly better than buying the Urban Decay one. Okay, so I got my crease going there. And then I think I do want to work that purple in with my flat brush. This brush is the E60, I believe, from Sigma. And I'm going to use that plum. That plum right there. Okay. Let's see what you're made of. This is really nice and purpley. Okay. I think I'm going to go over most of my lid with this. Let it come into the crease a little bit as well. So I got like smoky plum blended in with a little bit of warm brown. Yes. Sometimes you gotta cheer yourself on when you're doing makeup because like nobody else is sitting around the room with you. You're doing great. This looks awesome. You want love like there's no such thing as a broken heart. Plum is on the lid. I'm just kind of, I didn't really put anything else on this brush. I'm just wanting it to all blend together there in the crease. I'm going to buff out that edge even more with this E40. And then I think I will do this shade. I love how brightening this shade is. The one with a hint of pink. That'll be my highlight. And then I'm going to clean off this flat brush and show you what I mean about how brightening these lighter shades can be. I Want You Again, this one. Like, look how I'm just dabbing overlapping with a shade that is much darker than this. And it's so, like, bright and nice. Like, look at how full color this is. I love it. And with it overlapping some of that purple, I practically look like I've put lilac on my lids or something, but I haven't, you know, it's just the overlap. I know, not like a super complex, complicated eye look. If that was what you're coming here for, I'm sorry, but I just, you know, I can't take forever on this stuff. Going back to that same brown that I put in my crease at first, I'm just going to use that for a little soft, like, you know, that nice barely identifiable definition on the lower lash line. Just shadow that area just a bit. See how that finishes the eye off way more? Oh no, I hear somebody. Somebody's crying. And 20 minutes later, I'm back. Somebody got a little bit hungry. So the eyes, you know, that's just my simple look for today. And there was something I wanted to tell you guys as far as a brightening shade for the inner rim. This Wet n Wild Ultimate Brow Highlighter, this transfers on here more easily than anything. Like, I even have a brand new, like, Tarte pencil, and it does basically nothing for me in that lower inner rim. But look at the difference that makes. It's like the perfect shade. It's just like a little bit off-white, like just the slightest bit of peach in this color. And it really just rounds out the eye shape, you know. Then I'm going to use my favorite Tweezerman Pro Curl lash curler here, and I'm just going to do a lashes with no liner, mascara only look here, no eyeliner or anything. And I have been really liking that look. Not only is it quicker, but it just, I don't know, it feels very fresh, very still wide awake. And I'm using this Voluminous Lash Paradise, which, it's good, folks. I am really liking it. It's got that, like, just ever so slight hourglass shape to the brush, very much like Too Faced Better Than Sex, but it does hold the curl for me better than the Too Faced, and so far, anyway, let's see, how many times have I worn this? Maybe 4 or 5 times now? I have not had any smudging with this, but it builds up really quickly. The only difficulty, if I'm getting super nitpicky about this, is like accessing that innermost corner. If this were a tapered tip brush, it would be a little easier to get to those small areas. But as far as this formula goes and the size that it seems to give my lashes, I mean, that's pretty good. I don't have great natural lashes, but this is doing good things for them. A little bit on the lowers here as well. Now, I had also recently tried this Almay One Coat Mega Volume. That's their new mascara, and they say it has a megaphone brush. Fun fact, I have a megaphone tattoo. But that's what the brush looks like way, way out at the end and tapered back toward the wand. Did not work well for me. It just didn't look like enough on my lashes, number one, and number two, it wouldn't hold the curl. But I am always willing to give an Almay mascara a shot because of the great luck I've had in the past with things like Get Up and Grow and the One Coat Nourishing Triple Effect. You know, those were some great mascaras for me. So I'll always try what they put out, but I was not so happy with that. But yeah, this is a really, really nice mascara here. I mean, I would say it holds the curl in my lashes most of the day. But anytime I'm really talking about a mascara, this is what I've learned on YouTube. Like, when you really want to focus in on what a mascara is doing, don't put a bunch of eyeliner on, because that totally takes away the effect of fully seeing what that mascara is doing. So that's that. Literally just a minute left on my memory card. This is the lip color, the Vivid Hot Lacquer. It's like just a really glossy gloss. And the shade is more pink than I thought it was going to be. Whoops. I'm getting sloppy too. It almost smells a little bit like coffee to me. That's kind of strange, but very, very shiny. Decent texture on it. But thank you guys so much for getting ready with me today. I hope you enjoyed this little try on of a bunch of different products, and I will talk to you again very soon. Bye.